This device, before we had modern fire trucks, this is a device that was pulled by the fireman, not by a horse, by the fireman. He would pull this to a fire, and then they would grab the poles. There's two long poles that run along the side of the vehicle, and about 20 men on each side would grab the poles and pull down. That would pump the water from a water source onto the fire. They have big long hose, and they could pump water up to a couple of 100 feet with one of these devices. And once they got to pumping this, they would put so much pressure, so much force, that they would actually raise the middle box, the center box of the device, which weighs about 1,000 pounds, would actually come off the ground. So it was the 19th century. This was state-of-the-art technology in fire suppression.
And what are we looking at over here? What's this motorcycle?
This is a three-wheel Harley motorcycle used by the police department. This was used by the Springfield Police Department in the early 70s, and this is part of our motorcycle police display right here. Just to show the kind of motorcycles the police used in that age for urban police protection.
And now we've got some rare automobiles.
Yes, indeed. This is a wonderful example of a 1920s Pierce Arrow, 1928 Pierce Arrow, that was owned by the Young family, the family that owned and operated the great absorbing products, absorbing horse liniment for treatment for the muscles of horses, and then absorbing junior for humans. And the Young family actually invented those products and started the company here in Springfield, and by the 1920s it had become such a large company, and they went out and bought this Pierce Arrow in 1928. And this car has remained in the family's possession for 4 generations now.
And this exhibit's called Made in the Valley, and what's in here?
Yes, Made in the Valley. This covers a lot of the other smaller things. We have the cars and the motorcycles and other areas, but we wanted to show all the smaller things made out of Springfield, because there's so much has been made in Springfield. For instance, we have over in this first section Wilcox stoves in the early 19th century. Stoves were kind of a new idea. Most people use fireplaces, but stoves started to become popular, and they were made here in Springfield. Then we have a sewing machine made just up the valley in Florence, Massachusetts. One of the leading sewing machine companies at that time, but a company that eventually fell victim to the more successful Singer sewing machine. There was also a publishing industry that was pretty active here in Springfield in the late 19th century. Of course, there's still one of those companies still survives today. Merriam-Webster Dictionary is still here in Springfield, and we show that here, along with several other companies that were active here. A lot of people don't realize Good Housekeeping magazine was started, even though it's no longer in Springfield, was started here in Springfield. Then we have, many people are quite surprised, but it makes sense. Violins were made in Western Massachusetts, so we show a couple of violins that were made in the city. Milton Bradley is one of the great game companies, and Milton Bradley started making games in the 1860s during the Civil War era, and we have quite a selection of early 19th century Milton Bradley games here, showing the great legacy of that company. We have absorbing products here, the Young company that made absorbing products out of herbs. We also have a 1974 electric motorcycle. A company here in this area tried to make a successful electric motorcycle. It actually worked very, very well, but it just didn't sell enough. Not enough people bought this, and so it went out of business. But it actually is a very interesting, very successful motorcycle using some of the state-of-the-art technology of the 1970s to develop an electric